Hi, this is Phil from the Next Chapter team. Today's article review is going to highlight 5 tips, 5 strategies to help you buy a vehicle without going into debt. And then at the end of the video, we're going to go into an example of why this is so important over the long term of your investing and wealth building journey to avoid going into car debt and not having too much debts to slow you down in your wealth building journey. But before we jump into it, please take a moment to like, subscribe, and share. Help the channel grow. Now sit back, relax, and enjoy another article review from the Next Chapter team. Now, let's start with some important facts before we jump into these 5 tips. First off, new vehicle payments are currently sitting at somewhere around $735. Used vehicle payments are around $523. Now, there are many factors playing into that. Now, let's talk about if we had a number in between, like say $650 per month, and we invested that consistently. That would build up to a lot. And that's why it's so important to really fight to stay out of car debt, to stay away from car debt, or other big debts that are slowing you down from investing. But we're going to come back to the 650 at the end of the article review at the end of this video to show you what it would be like if you invested that 650 consistently over a long period of time. It's going to be an amazingly large number. First off, let's recap. This article is referencing Dave Ramsey, well-known financial personality. He's huge. He's big into no debts and investing consistently, have an emergency fund, and really putting yourself in a position where you could do very simple, easy to understand actions to help you build long-term wealth. So it's really important. The perspective of this article is from Dave Ramsey, and we're going to run it over his perspective of what you should do should you find yourself in an emergency situation where you need to purchase a vehicle. First and foremost, assess the situation. Assess the situation to make sure that you are looking at this from a really balanced perspective. If you've just lost a car that was worth around $3,000, you should be trying to replace it with around a car that's roughly around $3,000. This is, again, Dave Ramsey's perspective. What he's really calling out here is you don't want so much of your monthly payments to be going towards a depreciating asset. So he's big about saving up and buying cars in cash. So that's why this whole entire article is about how to make sure you strategize to buy a car in an emergency situation in cash. So assess your situation, really determine what is the best use of your money, and try to keep things balanced. Keep yourself moving in the right direction. Low debts to no debts. Primarily, again, this is Dave Ramsey's perspective, so it's no debt. Second up, explore your options. Really be sure you understand. If your current car is worth say $5,000, and you got into a rear-ended, and it was considered a total loss, and the insurance company, you fought with them and you debated, and they told you the magic phrase, that is to say, we've exhausted all our options, and the very best we can give you, based on the comps that you provided, is $3,000 to $5,000, or say $5,000, try to replace that vehicle with another $5,000 vehicle. Why? Because that's what you would drive it, and you don't want to put yourself in debt just because the car was claimed as a total loss. All right. This is, again, we're talking to a scenario here where you are in a bind. You have not had a chance to save up for replacing the vehicle. So you're kind of in a catch-22 situation. The car is totaled and they're going to give you a rental for 2 weeks. You need to figure things out. And this happens. This will happen on so many people's journeys. It's even happened to me. Full transparency. This has happened to me. I got a minivan totaled. And I had to fight with the insurance company and I refused. I fought with them hard until I got the top dollar I could get. And luckily, one of the comps that I found that helped me get the top dollar was still available. And I actually ended up buying it in cash. And it helped me because it helped me stay out of debt and helped me stay in a perspective where I could continue to invest as heavily as I wished. Number 3 strategy. Keep your solution practical. This is about practical. If you're driving a vehicle, try to replace it with a vehicle. Unless you've got some extra money on the side to add to what your insurance company is giving you, try to stick with a similar situation, right? Is just because you got a car totaled, it's not time to upgrade to a truck. Now, if you've got some money on the side to add to it, sure, go ahead. If you want to upgrade to that truck that you want to do in cash, again, this is Dave Ramsey's perspective, in cash, then go for it. But because you're forced into this situation, don't look at this as upgrade time, especially if you're deep in debt. Number 4, Dave calls out embracing frugality. And what he's saying here is if you're in debt or you're still working on to build up an emergency fund, now is not the time to upgrade. Now's the time to drive a vehicle that gets you from point A to point B. This is about understanding exactly where you are and being humble. Being humble and saying, this is part of my journey. And maybe my journey is to drive a 10-year-old car again, because I just lost a car that was 12 years old, okay? And that may be part of your journey today. Remember, life keeps going. 10 years from now, 5 years from now, you may be in a completely different situation financially. You may be able to upgrade to a car that's much nicer and newer, that meets many of your likes and wants perspectives. But now is the time, because you're in debt, to embrace that frugality and work with what you have. The fifth final tip is that Dave Ramsey pointed out, now is the time to commit to your financial principles that will help you build wealth over the long term, help you achieve that financial independence that you want over the long term. So he encourages this person to embrace the frugality, to look at the big short-term decisions that have a lasting long-term impact, right? Making decisions today that you'll be happy with 5 and 10 years from now. So this last one is really a core tenet. This is a personality trait. This is my best financial living trait that he's calling out. That staying out of debt for depreciating assets as a car will help you build long-term wealth. So very interesting. Again, this is all from Dave Ramsey's perspective. Now we're going to jump into Excel and show what it would look like if you invested consistently $650 per month instead of taking on a car loan over a long period of time, how much that dollar amount would be. All right, now let's jump into the spreadsheets one more time. So again, instead of taking on a $650 loan, instead you're going to buy a car in cash, and then you are going to focus on investing consistently $650 every month. And let's say, for today's example, it's 9% rate of return annually. That's what your assumed growth rate is, 9%. So $650 is $7,800 a year. So in 15 years, because you've consistently invested, you would have invested cash of 117. And your growth would have been 112. So 51% of your balance would have been principal, and then 49% would have been just growth. So you'd have $229,000 because you said no to car payments. And you said, in fact, I'm going to stay out of car payments for the rest of my life. So in 15 years, starting at the age of 30, you would have $229,000. Let's call that $230,000. What happens in 20 years? $399,000. What happens in 25 years? $660,000. So let's pause here. $660,000. Look at that. 30% of your balance, $195,000. 30% of your balance is just cash that you've invested. The rest is growth. $465,000 in growth. Now, if you're not impressed enough by that, let's see what would happen if we went for the full 30. So again, we're saying forget the car payment of $650. In fact, no more car payments. And I'm going to invest consistently, starting at the age of 30 in today's example. So $650 consistently over 30 years, every month, $650, $234,000 invested. Growth, $829,000. What's that total balance? One time for me, people, $1,063,000. $1,063,000. You see why it's so important to stay out of debt? You see why it's so important to position yourself to invest consistently? Because you could build up some major money if you stick with it, if you invest consistently. And again, we said 9%. There are funds out there that do 10, 11, and even 12%. 10, I usually find 10 in the ETF reviews. But again, you can build up some major money. We went under 10. I try to even keep these examples under 10 just to show you what's possible. There are some out there that do better than this. You have to really be picky and find out, and you have to be long-term in it. But again, this one was 9%, $650 every month at 9% for 30 years, $1,063,000. Hope you enjoyed the review. More details to come, more article reviews to come. One more time, a quick recap. 5 tips from Dave Ramsey, how to buy a car without going in debt. Number 1, assess your situation. Be clear about where you are. Number 2, explore your options. Number 3, keep your solution practical. What he's saying there is If you just lost the car, this is about an emergency situation. You got rear-ended, as an example, you got hit, your car is totaled. The insurance company says, we can't fix it. We don't think it's practical to fix it. We're cutting you a check. You fight with them. You haggle with them until they give you the best dollar possible. And then number 3, you go with a practical solution, because this assumes you don't have any money on the side. A practical solution means if you have $5,000, try to get a car that is $5,000. Keep it really, really close. If you got some money on the side to add to it, go for it, but stay out of debt. Number 4, embrace frugality. And why do we want to embrace frugality? Because by staying out of debt, you open up the avenue to enjoy some more money and invest more consistently and even save and build up a great emergency fund. We just showed you what's so important. By saving $650 consistently could really build up to over a long period of time. So embrace that frugality. Number 5, committing to your financial principles of working towards financial independence, of building wealth for you so you can take care of yourself in your later years. And if you want to retire early, fully get it. If you want to go fire movement and retire at 59 and a half and say, I'm done, cool. But you've got to commit to your financial principles that are going to lead you towards that. Hope you enjoyed the article review. So many more to come. See you in the next video.
Hey, thanks for staying to the end. This video is brought to you by the Next Chapter team. If you enjoyed the video, please take a moment to hit that like button, drop a comment, subscribe, share with your friends and family. This will help the channel reach out to more individuals just like you. We offer one-on-one coaching where we work with people and small businesses to determine a clear path to achieving their financial goals. This includes things like budgeting to reduce debts, planning for big purchases, and even learning how to build wealth with the tools that you have readily available to you. So please see our link below to schedule a free 30-minute call with our team to talk through coaching and understanding your current financial situation. Also, check out some of our affiliate links below for high yield savings account. This is a great place to put your money when you're saving up for those big purchases and your emergency fund. Check out some of our videos right here. And please enjoy and see you in the next video.